Oh my goodness, I am so excited about today. We get to put our signatures and sew them into our spine, and we will officially have our journey journal. It'll be a book. We will get to decorate, and today we will do that together. I hope you stick around. I'll show you step by step. Hi, it's Carrie from Created Me Creative, and welcome back to my cozy little corner. So for those of you who have not sewn signatures in, I am going to try and take this nice and slow. You will need a ruler, a pencil, a couple of pieces of paper that are the same length as your spine. And we are going to mark holes to sew these in. So the first signature and the last signature will be on these long parts here. So we're just going to do a typical 3-stitch pamphlet stitch there. And we'll mark that on one piece of paper so that we can line our holes up on here to our holes in our signatures. The middle 3 signatures are sewn in into the top piece, the middle piece, and the bottom piece. And again, we'll do this step by step. I'll try and do it nice and slow. I don't want it to be complicated, so we'll do it slowly. But we'll start with marking our 3 pamphlet stitch first. So I always like to take one piece of paper, same length as the spine, and we'll fold it in half, and that way when we put it in our into our signature, it just slides right into the center. So let's fold that in half there. I like to bring my first stitch down about 1 inch, so we're going to mark that on here first. And then I also like to come up about 1 inch, and then right in the middle. So the best way to do that for the middle one is just fold your piece of paper a long ways, right in half. And I'm going to move this cover out of the way. I have my plastic mat down on top of my glass because there's a little bit of a glare and I don't want it to shine. So I hope you can see this here. All right, so we're going to unfold that, and right where those 2 pieces cross, so there's the line down, there's the line across, that was our 2 folds. That will be our center bit where we punch our hole through. And then if you have one of these measuring boards, you can just mark your 1 inch based on that. I like to use it. You can use a ruler as well. So if you needed the ruler because you don't have one of these mats, you're just going to mark again up 1 inch right here, and then draw your line across. And there's that center fold. That is the one. We will repeat on the other end. I'll use the ruler this time. And because I'm using a ruler, I can just come up that 1 inch right there and draw the line across. I like to make the line this way too. That way you can see both fold, because the fold isn't always, it's just nice to have a dark line. So there's 1 hole, 2, 3. That's the 3 pamphlet stitch. Now, to do this one takes a little bit, for the middle 3, takes a little bit more measuring. Because we've only come down 1.5 inches, and there's 1.5 inches here and 1.5 inches here, we obviously can't come down 1 inch. So what I'm going to do for this one, and I'm going to get my piece of paper and line it up here. And I'll try and do this nice and slow for you. So we have 1.5 inches. So we are going to come up, let's see, that's 1/2 inch. I don't want it to be 1/2 inch. We're going to do 3/8 of an inch from the top down, and 3/8 of an inch from the top up. So for those of you who absolutely hate math, and again, I'm gonna move this. First step first, we will fold it in half. Like that. All right. That gives us the center line that's going to go inside the book when we mark it. So 3/8 of an inch down. You're just going to count those little sticks. So 1, 2, 3. It is right there. And because it's an inch and a half, we're going to go up 3 from the inch and a half. So 1, 2, 3, right there. That gives us 3/4 of an inch space between the two. And we're going to repeat that in the center spot and the bottom. But we're going to do the bottom first because that one's easy-ish. Haha. So 1.5 inches, that would be where the window starts. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3/8 of an inch here. And then from this edge, 1, 2, 3/8 of an inch there. Now I'm going to bring the spine back in so we can find our middle. And for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the edge of the window here and here. And that way, when we go to mark our holes, we know right where the edge of that window is. So I'll move that out of the way. And that's where we're going to take our measurement from. So come back to the center. That's the top of the window here. That's the bottom of the window here. So again, 1, 2, 3/8. 1, 2, 3/8. So there. And those are going to be the holes. I'm going to get an eraser. We're going to get rid of the marks that we don't want because we don't want to mess ourselves up here. And then make that fold line a little better. And we do this to make sure that our stitches from the outside here look even. Oh, I must have put that on some water. Hopefully that will dry. So we've marked it here. Now we still need to figure out our placement across here, and we will do that in just a second. But for now, let's just make our cross lines here, here. All right, we have our 2 templates. Now, I'm going to mark on the light side because, one, it's on the inside, and if I forget to erase my pencil marks, they won't show because our signatures will be right over top. So now we did make our spine 2.5 inches. So let's figure this out. Center of 2.5 is 1.25. So 1.25 is right there. So that will be where our center signature goes. We're going to want our first signature to be in the center of this piece here because it's not going to be seen from the window. Only the middle, the 2, 3, and 4 signature is going to be seen in the window. So 1st and 5th is going to actually line up in the center of this full piece here. So to do that, this piece is about an 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8. 5/8. So we want to do that in the middle. And I'm going to have to do some math. So half of 5/8 is just past a 1/4 of an inch. So that's the 1/4. We're going to come just past that. And you can eyeball it. You can see the edges here and the edge here. So you can eyeball it as long as you know that that's exactly where you want it from the top all the way to the bottom. So 1/4, just past the 1/4 inch, right there. And I am going to make a couple of marks and then draw a light line. I've made it dark enough that you can see it. I think you can see it. Here, let me zoom you in. Right there, right there. And we'll do it again down here. So just past the 1/4 inch and just past the 1/4 inch. And then we can draw a faint line from top to bottom here. And that line is just going to give us the guideline. We can erase it. Like I said, once you put your signature in, the likelihood of actually even seeing the line is slim to none. But, you know, we like to keep it clean. So there is the one line. And then this one, we'll do the same. Connect our lines, connect our dots, I mean. Top to bottom. Okay. And then when we go to punch our holes, we're going to use these marks, 1, 2, and 3. I may just mark them separately. This will be used for the signature, but that gives us that mark. So now we need to work on these middle 3 signatures. Get my inches. I know I'm Canadian. I should use centimeters, but I find inches so much easier. My grandmother taught me in inches when she taught me how to knit. And I grew up with centimeters in school, but when I do arts and crafts of any kind, I am always using inches. Okay, so what I'm going to do to mark the 2nd and 4th is I'm going to bring my ruler over so that the 1 inch mark is on that center, because I think it's going to make it a little bit easier. I think this line is crooked. I think I have brought that up there a little bit crooked, because that is reading an inch and that is not. Okay, so if we put our ruler at the 2 inch mark here, it makes it easier to count. I don't like all these little guys over here. So we have got just shy of an inch. We're like 1/8 of an inch in from an inch on each one. I think for easy math, we are going to mark for signature 2 and 4. We're just going to mark it right at the 1/2 inch. That's just going to make it easy measurement. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to make this as easy as possible. Okay, so now down to the next window, and we're just going to, again, we're going to mark those measurements. So we're at 2.5 inches wide. So we're going to go 1 1/4 for the center. And then we're going to move that to the 2 inch because it's easier for math. We're going to go at 2.5 on one side. We're going to go at 1.5 on the other side. And then we will mark the very last one again. Now we get to mark where we're going to put our holes to sew in. Here and here, there'll be 2 holes. 2 holes, 2 holes, and then the outside lines, we're going to have 1, 2, and 3. And we are just going to, what I'm going to do is I am going to fold this backwards. Line it up properly. And this is the easiest way for me. So we've marked our line across here. That's the center line for when we put this into the signature. Let me bring that down so you can actually see it. We've marked our line here for the center and across. So that is the points. And I think I'm going to zoom you back out now so you can see the whole thing. I hope we've been on camera the whole time. We're going to line this up so it's even, top and bottom, right on that outside line. So this will be for signature 1. And right where that line is there, we're going to mark a line. And again, in the center, right there. And then at the bottom, right there. So now we've got our points where we're going to pop our holes in. And we're going to do the same thing on this line over here. Now grab your other template. And again, we've marked those spaces. I'm going to make these lines a little bit longer so that when we fold it back on itself, we'll still be able to see them. Now these lines, we may have to make them a wee bit longer. And then we're going to take our template, fold it back on itself. We're going to have all those lines. We're, again, make sure it's even, top and bottom. And you're going to mark those lines right here. 1 and 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. And we'll do those for all 3 lines as well. So now all of these lines here should be even. These ones here should be even. Same with here. That one was a little bit off. I may have cut the window the wrong way. Here. And here. Oh, yeah, there it is, right there. Okay, lots of pencil marks. I'll work on erasing those after we've got the holes in. I just wanted to make sure that you could see how this was being done. I'm going to double check that one. So that is our holes marked for this. I am going to grab, now I've got this mat behind me, so I don't, sometimes I use a book block. I don't think I need it when I've got this self-healing mat behind it. So I'm just going to grab the tools I need to pop the holes in, and I'll be right back. Okay. So now we get to pop the holes into our book spine. And it's just right where those crosses are. You're going to get your tool and you're just going to make sure it's in the center. I'm going to put my glasses on and I'm going to lean in. Hopefully I don't get in the camera because I want to make sure that I'm right in the center, because this has to line up with the holes that are going to be in our signatures. And it can be a little difficult because we're going through cardstock, fabric, 2 layers of fabric, the book cover itself, and more cardstock. Oh no, it's not the book cover itself. It's the cardboard that we glued together. So take your time, making sure that it goes all the way through. I find sometimes if you lift it up, you can feel the pokiness. Here, I'll show you. I don't know, can you see that? Just see the little tip right there. Then you know you've gone through. And then you can go back from the other side if you need to. I have two lines here and I can't figure out which one is supposed to be the right one. So that's why I've brought my ruler out. It is that one. Okay, and then we can do 1, 2. It's easier on these 3 because we're not going through all the fabric, so we're just scooting through cardstock and cardboard, which is making it so much easier. Like these guys are just sliding through like butter. All right. And I'm going to keep doing this, and we will be back as soon as I have all of these holes in place. Okay, so I have all the holes in. I'm going to flip it over and just make sure that we can see it from the other side, which we can. They actually poke through really, really well. Now, because I came in from the outside, some of this, you can see the whiteness of the cardstock. If you just push your finger on it, it will flatten back out and kind of pop itself back into the hole. You could throw some ink on it if you didn't really like that whiteness. It doesn't bother me. I don't mind the character. Hey, this one popped right through a blue hole, so that's fine. It just doesn't bother me. I don't particularly like the cardstock sticking out. But again, if you just rub it down, it'll pop it back through, and then we don't have to worry about that. And sometimes just poking your tool in from the other side will help push it down as well. All right, all of those holes. That one's, there we go. Okay, all ready to go. Now we get to pop the holes into the signatures. So make sure you have your signatures in the order you're going to put them in your book, because you don't want to be popping the wrong holes into the spine or into the fold, because we do have the 2 separate templates. So if you want clips to hold everything together, it does definitely help. You want to line up your papers the way you want. Make sure you have the front facing the front, and all that. And then I will talk you through that. I am just going to make sure these are all prepped, and I'm going to grab some clips, and we'll be right back. I have signature 1 here. I'm just going to make sure that the papers are exactly the way we want them before we add our clip. And I've put this envelope in upside down. I've decided that I'm going to do it this way. I didn't seal it because I think I'm going to use it as a tuck spot this way. I'll trim it off there, and then we'll have a pocket coming in from the side, but then we'll have this tuck spot here. So that's what I've decided to do with both of those bigger envelopes. And now I'm just going to line these pages up the way we want them. I have 2 sizes of clips beside me here. I've got this little size and a big size because I wasn't sure. The small one might be okay, but you want to make sure that all of your papers are staying exactly where you want them, because once you pop your holes in and sew them in, they are not going anywhere. I'm going to check that envelope from this side. The brown one seemed to have shifted there, and it's smaller, so okay, looks good. Gonna bang it all into the center. I'm going to put a clip here, gathering all the papers, and then I'll flip those edges down, which will help keep some of the smaller stuff. And then I go to the opposite side And get it all around. And sometimes that's all you need. If you feel safer, you can do, you know, another one at this and here. And then I keep, hold on, I don't like the way that feels. I feel like it's pulling away from itself in the center. And you gotta fold those there. Same with the other side. Okay, and this is signature 1. So we're going to use the template with the 3 holes. Fold it in half. And because this paper is the length of the spine, it's going to be longer than the signature. So you can eyeball it, or you could trim it so that it's the exact same length. I'm gonna eyeball it. I'm comfortable enough with that. You could also pin this in. Sometimes I use, this one's glued shut. Oh, there we go. Sometimes I use a clothespin because it's not as clumsy as these big guys. And I will find where it needs to be and then just pin that on the top so it stays. You get your awl, and I start in the middle. And you just, I'm going to show you here. Some people will come at it from this angle. I like to pop my awl into the center hole, and then I lean the whole book forward and just come through this way. And I find that that gets it right on the spine, like right where you're going to sew it in. The angle that way works best for me. It's trial and error. It's whatever is most comfortable. I know that there are book cradles out there that can help with this. I know that some people like using a book block so that they've got a soft edge to jam into. But I just find that if you just lean it towards you, and then I'm going to turn this one around so I can come from the bottom. And again, right into that center piece, I'm going to move my clothespin and then just straight out. And that's that. Now we've got our holes, all 3 of them right there. 1, 2, and 3. And signature 1 is ready to go. I'm going to do the same with signature 5, and then I'll talk you through the middle signatures with those extra holes. Okay, we are back with one of the middle signatures, and we'll just quickly, again, line up the papers the way we want them. And then we need our other template. There she is. Now, I did forget to mention that it's best to mark a top and a bottom. I know that a lot of creators do that, and it is probably the most beneficial. I often forget to do that. It's just the one step that... So I'm just going to double check just for... And I did erase the lines as best as I could. Just the heavy ones. I didn't get down to... I line that up. That's 1, 2. Yeah, that's bang on. So let's do that. Let's put a T here for top. And I know, based on this center, that is the top of my signature. So I'm going to put that in there. And I am going to put that paper clip on to hold it, making sure that it is even top and bottom. Now, 6 holes in this one. There are some pieces of paper that will not be caught by all of them. Like this digital right here, that top hole may actually completely miss. But these 4 will catch it, and it will be secure enough. So we don't have to worry about that. So again, find that cross point, pop your awl in it, your pokey tool, and then just pop through to, I'll do the bottom. And as long as you're going straight out, not, this way, you don't want to put it in and head towards the top or the bottom. You want to get it to the center and then go straight out. And the last one, there we go. So again, I'm going to do that with the other 2 signatures, and then we will be ready to start sewing it in. Are you excited? Yee, getting excited. Oh, it did catch. Look at that. Caught a little bit. This one did not, but the top one did. Just barely. Just barely. All right, so that's number 2. All right, we are ready to sew these in. Now, the debate is on the color. I really like the white, but I think it's going to be too bright on the outside. So we'll eliminate that. And I don't think the gray is going to work because there isn't any gray in it. So we'll get rid of that one. We have 2 shades of the brown. And I think looking at this cover, although it's going to stand out, you are going to definitely see it. The lighter one is going to really mirror the kind of caramelly honey color in there. So I think we're going to go with that. I don't mind that, but I think we're going to go with that one. And I have a new one. So I think I'm going to start it because I think it's just a little shade. Yeah, it might be just a little bit different. So I'm going to use this one just so that it's consistent through the whole thing. This is a wax thread. I got it as part of a kit that came with the awl. It came with the needles. It came with the clips. And I purchased it off of Amazon. If I can find that, I will link it below. It's a great kit. And I think it came with 3, maybe 4 different wax thread colors. I don't quite remember. It's been a while. I've had it for quite some time. So, but I will try and link it below. I'm just going to try and get rid of a few more of these pencil marks, especially the ones that are going to stick out beyond the paper. So we will start with the 3 pamphlet stitch. Just got to figure out which is the front and which is the back. There is a small mark when I got this book, saved it. It came with that mark. So that's going to be our back. So this is the front. I think we will start sewing in the 5th signature. We'll start at the back and work our way to the front. Let's grab, I don't think it matters. 5 and 1 are very, very similar. So we will just start with this one. I love this paper with the florals. And again, you can keep it clipped for this sewing. It does sometimes make it easier. That is the 5th signature, which means it actually goes this way. And I'm going to zoom you back out. And we can work everything in. Oh, that envelope's great. Right in the right spot. Perfect. Still got to come up with something to cover up that. All right. Now the difficult one. And I am going to clip my papers on this one. Grab that signature. Be smart. And make sure that they're lined up. I'm going to put my all through one hole. And then throw the clips back on so they do stay where they're supposed to while we're sewing this time. And I'll probably realize that I should have done that in the first one too, but there we are. So this one, because of the 6 holes, 2, 4, 6, we are sewing it a little differently. And I'm going to go nice and slow. Make sure there's enough thread pulled out. Again, I don't cut it. Make sure we have the top. This is the 5th signature, so this is going to be number 4. It's going to go in this set of holes here. Now on this one, I am going to start at the bottom and work my way up. And I have to try and remember how I did this because it's been a while since I did my last one. So we are going to go, oh, let me get on camera here. We're going to go from the bottom up. We're going to start in the 2nd hole up. Come through the book. Come through the spine. Again, this one's going to be a little easier at the spine because we're not working our way through fabric. I can take that all out now. That was just helping keep that till I clamped it. Now we will come back through the bottom hole. And there it is. Once we clip this, we will tie this here. I don't want to tie it now because then I won't have the movement. So at the end, we will tie, that's where we will be tying it. So from there, let me move my scissors out of the way. We are going to go to, this is the bottom. We're going to go to the top middle hole and match it accordingly on the spine. And then the bottom of the middle hole. Come on. There it is. I'm going to give myself a little extra thread just to make sure. Okay, and then that piece is going to stay down here. All right, and then from there, we are going to go to the far hole, very, 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 very top. And through the top. There we go. And then we are going to come back. I just want to give myself a little bit more thread here. I don't want to be pulling. So little bit more thread. You can always pull it back the other way if you've got too much later, but all right, pull that through. There we go. And then we're going to come back through this very the bottom of the top. And right, see if I can find it. I'm going to loosen that up a bit so I can see what I'm doing. In here, pull that back. And there it is. And push that through. Okay. Now, we don't need that length. So what I'm going to do is grab that. Pull this back, nice and gentle. You don't want to rip pages. And again, leave about 1.5 inches, 2 inches, 2.5, whatever's comfortable for you. And then you're going to wiggle this back, making sure that that's nice and tight right here. And before we go any farther, because we will need a little bit of flexibility there, we are going to tie this off. So under, let me zoom in. So there it is there. We're going to wrap it over, come under, and then up and through that little hole right there. Now you can use extra string if it's easier. Maybe I will do that for you, because it's not a typical knot on this one. So over, under, through, and bring that through that little hole there. And you're going to pull that nice, oops, except that I missed. Nice and tight as you can. You got to kind of wiggle it down. And again, with that wax thread, it sticks really, really well. Push it down into the right spot. And then you can pull from this end because that'll help tighten it up. And then just to be safe, you can do another knot. So under, and around, and then nice and tight. I know my fingers are in the way, so it's just a typical knot. I don't know what you call the knot. And there it is there. So now we come down to this end and we're going to pull everything nice and tight. See how tight that is? It's not moving. And then we're going to pull our loose thread. And I always pull it the opposite way. That way you're not making your holes any bigger than they need to be. And we are going to do the same thing down on this end. So I'm going to cut off, what's that? 2.5, 3 inches. And let's turn it this way so you can see. And we're going to do the same thing down here. Under, around, and through. And finagle it so that the knot lands right on that hole as tight as possible. Push it down. If you got fingernails, it's a bonus, as you can push that knot down tighter. And then again, just to make sure, through, around, and nice and tight. And then you can trim these strings up. You can leave them, whatever. But that is not going to go anywhere. See how nice and tight that is? It's not going to go anywhere. And again, I have had my current journal that is done the exact same way. for over a year, using it often, and she is still intact. So that is that. And now we have 2 more in that form, and then the 3 pamphlet stitch for the first signature. I'm going to do those off camera. I will meet you back here once all 5 signatures are in. Okay, so we are going to put the last signature in, and I'm going to do this one on camera because the first one did not go very smoothly, mostly because I'm stubborn and didn't want to clamp it. But we will clamp this one. I put my awl in the center just to keep everything aligned while I get the clamps on. I have my thread all ready to go. We're going to go through the middle of the spine. Again, it might be a little bit resistant because of the fabric layers. Give it a pull. We'll go up through the top this time. And through the top hole of the signature. Come on, baby. There it is. And pull that through. And then through the bottom hole. And wiggle that through. And I'm just going to give myself a little more thread. And we can shorten that up after. And then we're going to go back through that center hole. Pulling that thread out of the way. And there it is. And we do want to be on the opposite side, but we can do that after we've got it through. Wiggle, wiggle. There we go. Got it through. All right, take the needle off. I'm going to pop that on the other side of that thread in the center. So we've got one here and one here. And then we are going to pull on this end, no, the bottom end, to make that string a little bit shorter. And then, oh, I've got them together again. Just pull them apart. There we go. And then we'll pull this the opposite way, nice and tight. Double check on the back, looks good. Tie it in a knot one way, tie it in a knot the other way. Cut that there, take off our clamps, and we have a journey journal. Look at that. She's done. She's together. She's all sewn in. Just like that. I'm going to open it up in the center so you can see. Look at that. All of those signatures peeking through. And it doesn't matter where you are. She's going to lay nice and flat. We'll work these pages in, but she is ready for decorating. And I think we may start with, seeing as we're stitching stuff, we may start with doing some stitching edges, some ruffles, and that kind of thing. But for now, yeah, I'll be back. We're not done yet. I'll be back. I've done the editing on the most part of the spine, and there is no way we can do any more today. So I just wanted to show you a few things for the next video. I have this piece of an old tablecloth in a beautiful bluey color and this lace, and I think we're going to do a snippet roll out of it and then make page tabs or edges with that. I'm going to attach different ribbons. This one here is a velvet. This is just a seam binding. We've got a vintage lace, a vintage crochet edge, and then we've got the piece that we used on the inside of our cover and a couple of other different fabrics that will really look nice. I will do ruffles with these, and I'll have some pre-made with my sewing machine, but also show you a way that we can do that with hand stitching. And yeah, so next time, which will be Saturday, we will work on all of the edge pieces and the pretty fabric pieces together. I am looking forward to it. I hope you are too. I hope you will join me Saturday morning at 11. See you then. Take care.